Alright, we are back with the cheap big brake conversion kit. Now, if you remember before, I told you I had like 3 in it. I think it's what it was. I don't remember, really. It's been a while. I've been busy. But I have ordered, well, you guys saw I was making my own hubs. And I tried to drill them myself. It didn't work. And really, I just figured, why not pay the money? So for $275 from RPM Automotive Brakes, you get this box right here. And what's in here? Look at there. Brand new spanking hubs. The new mounts for the caliper brackets. Seals, bearings, all the bolts and nuts. Even the grease caps for the hubs. Everything. $275. Now, these bad boys, which are eBay special, are 13-inch rotors for a C5 Corvette. Now, C5 is a 5 on 4 3/4, which is the S10 Camaro Corvette bolt pattern, which is what I am converting the Caprice to, because it's really hard to find 5x5. So, if you'll bear with me one second. Gotta cut my finger off. Alright. There you go. There is your S10 Camaro Corvette setup. Right there. If you have the, I call them hatless rotors, which means you have a hub and a rotor, whereas the other one is just a, I don't know what you call it, a bolt-on rotor. This is it. That's the awesomeness. Now, I'm going to put these on, but before that, in order to mount the actual adapter bracket here for your calipers, you have to drill and tap your spindle. These are the bolts here for the spindles and for everything like that. But you also have to cut your spindle. I don't know if I showed that before. It's been a while, as I said. But here, this is still my old hub I made myself. But if you don't notice right here, I've cut them off. But I've got to cut more. This is your bolt hole. So basically, this all has to go like back here and get cut. This line right here, it's a good line to follow to cut down to the bottom, down to the lower part, and cut that off. And that's where your bracket will bolt to. It's right through here, and then to your calipers, which I had a caliper mount sitting somewhere, but I don't know what I did with it. It's the older mounts, because there's actually a 7/8 and a half, and now I'm switching to the half to where my wheels go in further. But that's what I'm going to do right now, is I'm going to cut that to fit these. Let me see, actually, let me show you real quick what I'm talking about. Just like that. Which, as I said, that one needs to go over. That one's actually fine, but this stuff I want to cut, you know, make it look nicer. This one's got to cut that nipple off there. Round it off. Drill them out. Bolt them on. And that sets you up for your Corvette or Camaro calipers, which are the same. Just the Camaro don't have Corvette stamped on it. That's it. They're still dual piston calipers and whatnot, which is light years ahead of the technology that is in the original 91. I'm gonna get started on that. So, before I start cutting this stuff, which I already cut it there, just a quick cut. That was before. But these need to be drilled out. These are your old, I don't remember what those are. I think they're your dust shield cover bolts. But that's actually now going to be your new caliper bracket bolts, okay? One here. And one here. And you're going to need to drill these out to a 25/64, which does not come in the kit. Just remember that. I'm actually using drill hog to drill them out, and they're really sharp, good drill bits. And you have to tap it with a 7/16 by 20. That's 7/16 inch thick. 20 is your thread pitch. All right. And I'm going to drill them out first to where I want to make sure that once I start grinding back and cutting, that hole isn't going to get cut into at all. This one literally just needs to go from here and just be sliced up like that, and the bottom needs to be sliced down and cleaned up, rounded, painted. This one, however, has got a serious amount of meat on it. But it's already basically to here, so you ain't gotta go, you know, all the way in here. I just want to come in, let's say, up through here and just round it off to where it looks good. Let me see that bracket. Here it is. You can see it's already actually in its spot, so you don't have to worry about coming real far over. Because I know it's just like me, it was spooky to cut that thing in the first place. If you have it all off already, it's even going to help you even more. But in my case, I didn't learn about this kit till recently. So, well, not recently, but I've been talking to the guy and finally got what I needed to get. So now, cut after I drill. Drill first. Okay, now these don't go all the way through, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a smaller drill bit to mark my depth. That's about how far it goes in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the drill bit with a piece of tape, and then I'm going to mark all of my other bigger drill bits that step up to the size I want to use with tape also. And that's going to make it to where you don't drill all the way through, because you don't want it all the way through. I'm probably going to have to step it up a couple more times, actually. Or should I say I'm going to have to go down a couple more times and step it up. Maybe one more down. I missed a couple in each step. I don't go bit by bit. Yeah, it feels like one that'll eat the teeth out of there. Or I'm sorry, the thread. So, we're going to use 3 drill bits to step it up. This is going to be the smallest one, medium, and that's our final in order to tap it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not the greatest at drilling and tapping holes. In fact, I would go ahead and say I suck at drilling and tapping holes, so this is my most stressful part right here. Because again, I have yet to have good luck drilling and tapping holes. But, what can you do? Just go at it. I'm gonna drill these out and tap them. I'll be back on. I'm getting aggravated. I've got both of them drilled and tapped out. Going nice and smooth, easy peasy by the hand, which is all you want. So that is ready now. So what I'm going to do is, I've decided that the only thing I want to do really is I want to round this one over, get rid of this nipple, and round that edge down. And this one, really, I don't even have to do very much at all to this one. Because as you can see, let me see if I can just bolt it here. All I have to do to that one is basically just tighten it up and it'll clear all of this. But here's the thing. The bolts that go through the back here are actually some very, very big Allen head bolts. So that has to fit through here in the back to go into the actual caliper. So all this in here, basically this whole edge has got to be cut out. All through there. Now again, if you want an easier way, I would suggest getting a completely different setup. If you're not comfortable with cutting, you know, your everything, basically. And no, I don't believe it would slide on first, because you would never be able to tighten it anyway. Yeah, it wouldn't work anyway. So that has to come out, basically. But that's what I'm going to do now. I am going to start marking this, and I'm going to probably going to flap wheel this over, clean it off with a cutoff wheel, and then grind over the bottom. But all this inside edge has to come off. I seen that after I had shown you that, you really couldn't see much of what's going on, but here, this whole inner thing has to come out. That whole bit right there. And then I'm going to grind this nipple off and round this edge right here over. And as far as the top goes, right up through here, I'm gonna cut this way, and then I will smooth it all out. Just a wrap over here and cut that off. All this has to come off. But that's what's up. So now I gotta do nothing because I just realized my grinder's not here with my cutoff wheel on it. So basically I'm done for today. I forgot my friend Nick with 454 has it, so I guess I'm done for today, which sucks, but yeah. At least I got that one stressful thing I don't like doing out of the way. Yeah. But it looks like it's going to be so awesome. And then, again, I don't know if I said, but I'm going to paint these or something. I got to do something with them because they're rusty. You can see where they were cut on a plasma table or even a water jet. I think it was a plasma table though, I'm not sure. Left a little bit of a hook right there. I'm going to, take a flat disc too and clean up. Yeah, and these will probably get painted the same color as the calipers, which I don't have yet. It's going to be a special color. It's going to be kind of a big deal, but yeah. So that's it right there for now. I'm going to have to get a hold of my buddy Nick and get my cutoff wheel grinder. That's actually not that thick there. I would use my plasma on it, but then I would take a chance of burning all this, burning the ball joints, anything. So cutoff wheel's best way. Okay, so now I got my grinder ready to tackle this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make cuts in and try to find the straightest angles to where I am not like, you can't make a round cut that thick with a cutoff wheel. So, one thing you do there is just make straight cuts and hope. You're going to be needing a flap wheel and stuff because you're going to have to dress it up real nice. If you care at all, I mean, really. Got a little bit of broke disc action here. I'm thinking about saying screw it and just cutting it with the plasma. Not even through any of it. Yeah, I'm gonna get the plasma out. Alright, I got my plasma hooked up. You hear my stupid compressor super loud running in the background. I have my Steiner welding blanket on there. First time I use it, brand new. I hope it works for plasma. It is just a welding blanket, so you know what? Let me get some gloves too. A glove. Just in case there's any backfire on this thing. The reason that's going off like a 4th of July firework is that's cast, and basically when you cut it or anything, it turns back into powder, and that's why it does that. So that's odd. That spindle's not even hot. I thought for sure it had been hot after plasma cutting it. Alright, but I'm going to kill my compressor and the plasma and switch over to a flat disc and start flat disking all this out. Yeah, that's gonna take a long time. I'm gonna knock this out, then I'll hop you guys back on after I get it ready to start bolting stuff on. Alright, I have it all ground down now, a rough grind. I'm still gonna have to finish grind it with my 90-degree, you know, and knock off any of this nasty looking and hit it with some paint. But that's basically it. Now you do have to keep putting this on here, because what you're making clearance for is the caliper bracket bolt that comes from the back side. It's a big, let me see if we can find the bracket. Here it is. It's a big Allen keyed bolt, and it has to fit on there. like come through here. So that's why you got to clearance that a bit, but that's pretty much it. Now I have to clean it up. I'm going to hit it with some paint, and then I'll start assembling the bracket part of it, which I'm going to have to get some paint for it too, which is just going to be some standard black paint. But so far so good. Okay, I got it all ground down, primed, ready to be hit with some black before we continue installing everything. I have to pack my bearings, which is no big deal. That's easy peasy. That's like textured for some reason. That's where your seal's gonna go back on. But yeah, these usually have like dust shields and stuff, which I took mine off even before that because I can't stand a dust shield. This is your ABS sensor, which I deleted ABS off of mine, so I'm just gonna leave the ring on a hub, and that'll just not get used. I do have to get some braided lines. I bought some rubber ones, but I'm gonna get some braided. But there's ready for drying. Considering it's like 50 degrees, it's gonna take a long time to dry, so I'll probably just wait till tomorrow to do the paint and then start assembling stuff. But I want to go pack bearings right now. So your hubs are going to come with your new front and back bearings and your bearing seal. Now these already have the races pressed in them, so that right there, you don't have to use it. These ones perfectly fine. Now what you're gonna have to do is, I would recommend getting a very, very good lubricant like Lucas Red and Tack grease, or if you're lucky enough to find it, there is grease called Wolfhead's grease. That's like the best stuff ever. Can't find it anymore, but it's great. So if you've never packed bearings before, I will show you how right here in just a second. Okay, so packing bearings is super easy. You're going to start with the back bearing. What you want to do is you want to take the grease. Get you a big glob of it here. Put it right in the palm of your hand. Now if you're afraid of getting dirty, don't work on cars. So let me tell you. Alright, with it in your hand, take your bearing and force it down into it. And push it through your hand and scoop as you go. Now what this is doing is it's pushing its way through the bearing up into the gap right here. So that's all you do, is you just keep moving the bearing around and pushing. And you can see it come out the back and everything when it's good. So just keep moving and going. And it takes quite a bit to get in there, so just keep going. This is one thing you do not want, to not have enough grease in it. And in fact, I have it all right there. Now what I'm going to do is put a little extra on the outside. And drop it in. And there you go. That's how you pack a bearing. Now if you're a little girl and you don't want to do that and get your hands dirty, get a bearing packer. I think that works better, but if that's how you want to be, then do it that way. So after you have your bearing in there, you're going to put your seal on. Now I just use a hammer and tap it in, plain and simple. Of course it helps to have two hands, and I'm trying to record this with one, so. Well, I'm gonna get that bearing in, or that friggin' seal in here, so that way I can move on to the next part. So 2 seconds is all it takes to put that bearing in there, or that seal, and it keeps your back bearing from coming out. Now you can just flip it over, and now it's time to put the front bearing in. But what I would suggest to do, take your finger and just pack it full of grease in here on this edge, the whole inside of it. That is so when you're going down, if you just put it in here, it's gonna heat up and bleed out and go in the center, and then your bearings are going to be dry. So if you pack the inside, when it gets hot, it just stays in there. And it also goes on your spindle and goes around on everything in there too. If you were to leave it dry again, you would burn out bearings twice as fast. So I'm going to pack the other bearing, the front bearing, which again comes with the race that you do not need because there's one already in there. Pack it full, pop it in. Then that one will be good to go. Now that I am all packed up and ready to go, here's all your new stuff. Here's your dust covers, which are actually your grease covers too. The new nuts, your new cotter pins, everything you're going to need right here. And again, that comes as part of the kit, so don't think you got to go buy that. Again, kit. So now I'm ready to slide this on the spindle and bolt it on. I'll show you that when I get back over there. Okay, now I haven't even test fitted these things yet, so I don't even know if they are exactly right, but the guy I got them from knows his stuff. So and boom, just like that, they fit. Now they're pretty tight on there right now because that bearing, because of the new bearings and the new seal. I'm actually going to do is pull it forward a little bit, rub a little grease on that seal. Get all sealed up. Push it back on there. Alright, that'll help it not burn that seal up on there too. Alright, now, wrong bag. That's the nuts and bolts. This is our carriers and everything, or whatever they're called. Alright, big old nut, put that up here. Grease cover, flat washer, cotter pin. It's G for this one side. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, this goes on first. That always goes on first. Now, with it on there, I'm just checking to make sure it feels like it has enough grease behind it as to where it's not going to stop grease from getting to it. Which it does, because it's completely stuck on there now. So, the next step is going to be our big giant nut. Look at this. This dude has everything perfect right here. Look at this. Straight on. Threaded perfect. Now what you're going to need is either a pair of pliers or a crescent wrench, which I don't think I have a pair of either over here. Let me grab probably a pair of pliers. Now, there is a science to putting these hubs on. And what I mean by that is you do not want to use a socket set. You don't want to use a breaker bar and impact, nothing. Because what you're looking for is tension. Now, how I've always done it is you want there to be a little bit of slop in there. And the only reason is you want that grease to be able to get under them bearings. Now with these bearings being brand new, that grease being brand new, and all being very, very sticky and tight, it's going to be a little bit harder to do this. But what it is you should tighten it down to where it's tight, and then you should back off of it. Now, that right there is how I'm going to do it, because that's backed off. That's enough to where it's tight, but it's not over tight. Now, this being a new setup, new bearings and everything like that, I'm going to check it again later on in life anyway. Ow! If I still have a hand after I friggin' stab myself. Okay, so twist them all over. Your cotter keys. Make sure they're not coming out. Alright. Now that that is all good, you're going to want to reach for your dust cap. Now, don't leave this thing dry. Don't leave any of that dry. Get you a nice glob of that grease, whatever grease you're using, whatever grease you like using. Put some in the cap. Put some in here. Do not leave this dry. Now this is probably some of the stickiest stuff I've ever used. This crap's like glue in here. But that's a good sign. That means you ain't gonna have to worry about it sliding out of there with ease. Alright. I'm gonna put a little bit more in this cap just to make sure it's all good. Now I'm also going to wipe this edge off. You don't have to be this anal. I just am. That's why it's taking me 5 years to build a Caprice, because I'm in. But I'm doing it myself. That's all that matters. Look at that. That one actually fell on pretty loosely, actually. Yeah, I don't like that. I can bring it off with my hands. So what I'm gonna do here, if I can get it off. So I'm going to pinch the corners out a little bit here on the cap. Bend them out. And that's going to help it stay in there a little bit tighter. Yeah, that's what I want. Most of the time, if you're not hammering them caps on, they're not going on right. Alrighty. Clean this up a little bit here. Make sure no grease is on there. There we go. And that's the new hub now. All installed. Excuse me. Ready for the next step. And again, this isn't 5x5. I ordered these specifically for a 5x4 3/4, the S10 bolt pattern. Now, he does sell them in 5x5 again, and I'm not sure, but you might even be able to get these drilled out to a 6-lug, like Silverado, the newer ones. But then that opens up a whole new can of worms for your brakes. You'd have to run like a Corvette brake and have it drilled to the 6-lug. So I don't know about that one. But I just know for sure 5x4 3/4 and 5x5 are definite. So now that I have it all blacked back out, cleaned up, ground, and everything ready to go, I can start assembling it. So, let's see here. Need 4 bolts, 2 washers, and 2 lock nuts. And the most important thing, the Loctite. Which again, not all comes as part of the kit. It comes with its own little bitty bag of Loctite. And it is a little bitty bag, like a sample bag really. But it's all you're gonna need. And this should be red. Oh no, it's medium, so it should be blue. Crack it like it. Yep, blue. Alright, so lock washer, washer, some thread locker, be a little generous with your thread locker, through the hole, onto this one. Alright, now same process again, lock washer, washer, Loctite. Okay. Through the hole. Ready to go. Now, as soon as I find my 16 mil. We can lock her down. I'm trying to keep these somewhat in the center. You must make sure them things are on there tight. Now, for the beautiful part. Yes. I know this isn't the right rotor. This is the one for the driver's side. But, boy oh boy. Just using it to mock it up for now. Before I put wheels on or anything. I will put the right one on the right side. Again, this is just mock up for now. I do have to paint my calipers and my caliper brackets. That's these, by the way, caliper brackets. Alright. It helps if I put it on the right way. Getting a little bit of a tolerance issue here. Maybe it's just because it's not on there all the way yet. Actually, I'm getting a big tolerance issue. My actual bolts are hitting my brackets. I have to figure out that why. Well, let me see if I can't figure that out. And I'll check back in right here in a second. Alright, so I got it figured out. You did not need the lock washers on there. It was lock washer or flat washer. So I took the lock washers off, and since it's already got blue Loctite on it, it's good to go. But that's bolted on now. I don't have these completely tight yet. I just have them hand tight because, again, we're just checking. So I'm going to grab the caliper, put it on, and see how its fitment all works. Alright, so I have the caliper. I wire wheeled it, cleaned it, put new seals in it. So yeah, I got the new bolts for it and everything, but that right there is basically how she'll be. It looks like it fits perfect. Gotta get some pads for it, and the brake lines, steel braided brake lines, but it's all super tight clearances and everything. Really nice, big brakes on there.